This is Dr. Brandon Beals. I am the lead and founding pastor of Venture Church in the Seattle area.
My name is Tony. I pastor Venture Church Seattle.
With this podcast, we talk about things that pastors always want to talk about, but are afraid to.
I'm so glad you're with us today. Welcome to Pastors Unfiltered.
What's going on, Venture Church? Welcome to Pastors Unfiltered. I'm your host for the day, Johnny White. And if you haven't met yet, I'm the youth pastor and internship pastor here at Venture. And I'm joined with a special guest. You know him, you love him. I appreciate him greatly. Give it up for Tony Mattar, our Seattle campus pastor.
I don't know if they love me, but I appreciate that.
Know that I love you.
I love you
And
too.
the people who are recording this, they love you just as much as well.
I genuinely love everyone in this room.
That's it.
Except for this.
Yeah, it's atrocious.
It's atrocious.
It's atrocious.
It's
I'm on the mic so I can
atrocious.
say that. The design choice and everything. I like the King Kong poster.
You like the new studio?
It's great. It's a good vibe.
It's good.
It's consistent.
It is great.
It's good. Shout out to the team that put this together. I feel like when a lot of times when people see us interact, they catch what you classify as some stepson energy. Would you just communicate to the people what is encompassed in stepson energy?
Johnny, you're like a son to me, brother. But God put you on my doorstep,
Amen.
quite literally. And I love you like a son.
Come on.
Sometimes you treat me like Bart Simpson treats Homer. And
Don't have a cow, man.
I love you for that.
Yeah.
You keep me on my toes.
That's it. Our roots run deep, man.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
For the people who might not be aware, whenever I had finished up seminary in Dallas, I had heard about the internship. God felt like it was calling me to be the next step. And that kind of the next step in that process was to kind of meet some people from the church. So I met Pastor Brandon, met Morgan Butcher. And then one of the last Zoom calls that we had was actually with Tony Mattar, just kind of sharing his heart about youth ministry, what he had. And then when I made the road trip up, I actually ended up staying with you guys for, I feel like it was a couple months, 3 months, 4 months.
Great roommate.
Like that. Yeah.
Never left your room.
That's it. Honestly, I'm a homebody. I'm very low key.
Yep.
And they thought that I was like nervous or scared.
We thought he was ill. Like there was something wrong with him and he couldn't leave his room.
No. It was great. I mean, the cooking, the food. Lenny was my roommate. She would still randomly bring that up all the time.
She was two.
Yeah. And then Ellie came along and I got kicked out.
The Lord provided.
Amen.
Brother, what are we talking about today on the pod? It's a new year. This is our first episode of the new year.
That's crazy.
First episode. Pastor Brandon's gone with surgery. God bless him.
Yeah.
Posted a picture of his shoulder the other day with all the staples in it.
Very gory.
I DM'd him. I said, bro, I just threw up my Chipotle.
The next video he posted is like, sorry, he got a little queasy.
Yeah, he did apologize.
Yeah.
I'll give him credit. He apologized.
I bet you it wasn't for you, though. I bet you it was somebody else.
It was,
DM'd him.
no, it wasn't
Yeah,
about,
yeah.
no.
He was like, I don't care, Tony. It's fine.
Tony can see my other shoulder.
Yeah. Really today, I wanted to kind of talk about a couple things. I want to talk about, a little bit of our dynamic. We've kind of followed the same career path a little bit from youth ministry. Talk about that season of life. Give you your flowers, and also talk about the landscape of the church as we see it. Not even just Venture, but I think Big C. I think someone who's been in the game for a minute as a veteran. Feel like you have good observation, especially in this new season of being a campus pastor, overseeing a campus. Maybe you can kind of talk and point out what it looks like. I think I'm noticing some trends coming out of the next generation that I feel like are going to trickle into, especially as Gen Z specifically are not only fully in the workforce, but now they're coming into church leadership positions and things that we're actually starting to notice with that kind of thing. But I want to point it back to just kind of the beginning, because when I moved up here, you were the youth pastor. Just for a reminder for everybody, how long, kind of talk about that journey of like kind of your, I guess, career path up until getting into youth pastor.
Yeah. And for the record, everyone listening, I know I joke a lot about Pastor Johnny being a stepson, but I genuinely love the man. That's why I joke about him often.
100%.
Keeps him humble, keeps us all humble.
Yeah.
So when I started, I got saved in 2010, and all I wanted to do was tell people about Jesus, but I had no biblical literacy, no mom and dad in church ministry to get me a job, nothing like that. So I ended up just serving at youth. I wasn't allowed to be a leader yet. So I just kept going to youth every Wednesday night. Yeah. And I kept serving. Eventually, about 6 months into getting saved, that let me become a youth leader. And while I'm a youth leader, we had a pastor bring his youth ministry up from Texas, and he prophesies over me. He calls me out in a crowd of 150 people, calls me out and says that the Lord has appointed me, and I am called to a season of consecration because I'm going to step into a season of ministry.
Dude.
The minute he said that, I dropped out of, I had just applied to go to UW, dropped out, or just canceled my application, just had finished 2 years of community college, and I applied to go to Bible college.
Yeah.
I immediately just pursued a Bible degree because I felt like I need to know the Bible. I have a love for people. I have a passion for people. I need to learn the Bible. And then over time, man, God blessed me. I became the junior high director a year and a half later, started teaching kids about God in J-High ministry.
Yeah.
And then was co-youth ministering the ministry with Morgan. Morgan was the youth pastor. I was the co-youth pastor, but Morgan was really the leader of it. He was leading everything that we were doing. And then eventually Pastor Dye takes over the Mill Creek campus. At this point, we have 2 campuses, Everett and Mill Creek.
Right.
And she becomes the leader there, brings over a worship person, and then asks me to come be the youth pastor.
Wow.
And when I asked her, okay, like how many kids do we have there? And she goes, we only have Judah and Elijah. Like that's all we have.
Some PKs. Come on.
So I was like, oh, this could be a long road.
Come on. Yeah.
But my wife and I just love Di, and we wanted to follow her and her leadership. And so we go to Mill Creek with her, and we're meeting Sunday mornings in a hallway at Little Cedars Elementary.
Wow.
And what started with 2 kids ends up being like 15, 20 junior hires over time.
Yeah.
God blesses it. We then get our own building. We start creating Sunday night youth ministry for people in Mill Creek. Once again, 15, 20 kids, turns into like 50 kids. The campuses then merge. Morgan and I are running the youth ministry together again. And simultaneously, by the way, this entire time we're at Mill Creek, we are also doing Wednesday nights in Everett with Morgan. And all the kids from Mill Creek are commuting to Everett.
Wow.
So it was a good road, but we knew to be on mission, getting everyone under one roof wasn't strategic. We have to have 2 separate gatherings.
Right.
And right as we were ready to split the youth ministry literally in half and have 2 Wednesday night services, that's when the campuses merged.
God, you say
literally
Come on.
literally in the final hour, it happened. And it was really good though. Morgan was youth pastor for about another year. He steps out, and I become the youth pastor. Became the youth pastor for 2.5 years, and man, we went through it because the moment I became youth pastor, we had announced we're going to demo the building in Mill Creek.
Yeah.
We're going to move to Jackson High School, and we're going to build a new building on the current property we're at.
Right.
So then I had now had to figure out, what do I do? The former youth pastor is gone. We just graduated our largest senior class ever.
Yeah.
And it's just, where do we even meet?
Right.
Long story short, man, the youth ministry shrunk to about 15 kids. And we found a church that would rent to us on Wednesday nights in Mill Creek. But over that season, God blessed us immensely. Youth ministry grows. We get this building. The youth ministry, literally the week of COVID, had reached the highest it had ever been.
Wow.
In the history of the church. And that's not like a glow. I'm just saying, like, church is growing. Teenagers are hungry. God's moving. We're packing out the hub.
Yeah.
And then COVID happens.
And I just want to honor you for a second because, hopefully you're hearing this as you're hearing him talk about his stories. This sounds exhausting, but Tony Mattar, Ariel, these are the kind of leaders that, like, they just keep going. They put their hand in the ground. Like, the first time I heard this story of you guys, like, going from building to building, transition to transition, like going from having just Elijah and Judah being your first 2 youth students to, like, evolving it through. There could have been so many times you're like, this isn't worth it. This might not be what God's calling me to do, yet you stayed faithful to it.
Bro, don't get me wrong. We got offered beautiful jobs in Southern California. That doubled what we had made. Came with a kids or youth worship, a youth admin, a youth everything.
Come on.
We just felt the Lord never released us.
It's faithful, man.
It's frustrating.
Faithful and frustrating. Faithful and frustrating.
No, it's good.
I love it.
But, over time during COVID, I became the intern director, and that's when I felt the grace of youth ministry was coming off me. Because we had about 18 of our youth kids join the internship. And I felt like, bro, you know what an honor it is when people will continue to be a part of your ministry? It's not about you.
Right.
But the fact that they're willing to do another season with you, even though that season had technically ended and they could just go do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Extremely humbling.
Yeah, I'm experiencing that right now. I mean, we have a bunch of our interns currently at the church, and even some of our youth leaders like Althea Arnado, Bailey Hicks, Luke Chambers, Jaden Lyons. These people who came up in the youth ministry, like some of these were your students, and the crossover between both of us. And like it's so surreal sometimes that like they're kicking butt and taking names for the kingdom, and it's just like, dude, at one point you were just some punk teenager.
Bro, they all were, man. They all were. But you know what? It was during that time I felt like my heart it's not young adults. It's not even college. I discovered what gives me the most joy in ministry.
What was it?
Other than evangelism, which I love to do, it was bringing people along a journey and seeing God pull the potential out of them. We talk about calling in the church every single day. Yeah. We preach more on calling than we do about like laying down your life, abandoning your life. And what I had discovered was it wasn't about getting them from point A to point B. It was about how do they become holier today? How do we get them more into Jesus? Instead of preaching about you're going to be a youth pastor, you're going to be a worship pastor, you're going to be a missionary, we're always preaching on calling. I thought, no. We need to teach them how to become more like Jesus. So that 2-year program was, in my opinion, for me too, it shaped me as a pastor. Wow. When I came out of youth ministry, I had to literally rebuild my ministry philosophy. Yeah. When you're a youth pastor, and Johnny, this is no knock on you. You don't exhibit this, but most youth pastors think the world revolves around youth ministry and youth pastoring. Sure. The moment you're out of it, the world, you realize, oh my gosh, the world does not revolve around my youth ministry. It does not revolve around a youth conference. It revolves around the gospel. And most people like are cheering you on, but like, man, because in youth ministry, you feel like you're grinding and like no one's cheering you on. It's just you. Right. And like, why don't they care as much as I care? Like, man, God, kids are getting saved. They care. Yeah. But they also have like 1,000 other things they care about too.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it's like, what I discovered was I want to just lead people to Christ. And I love discipleship. I love watching them become who God's created them to be.
Come on. So good. I love that. A friend of mine, Nate Burdine, out in Life Center, he came to spoke to our youth ministry right before we took a break for 2 weeks, and he set this bar. There's Johnny, like, you know, we have to realize, like, we're not just here to get people saved for 4 years. Yeah, like we have the opportunity and honor to like help people fall in love with Jesus for the rest of their lives. And like you had that mention of like calling and ministry. Like I think when we start seeing like the offices, these positions as like it's either the win or it's not the win, instead of speaking the value of like, hey, this is a sending point.
100%.
Like the ministry should be a part of every believer's walk, like title or not. Like the nurse has a role of ministry, 100%. Supernatural hospitality. The goal of being able to share the faith despite having a church affiliation or not, right? 100%. And so I think it's amazing to like walk people in with that. So it's that season of walking youth students to interns. So now these are some people who probably helped out on your launch team. Like I think you actually have some former interns.
Help us start church. Our kids pastor Kendra was an intern, was a youth kid. Hayden, our youth director, was an intern, was a youth kid. Dude, it's been amazing. And then the majority of the team who helped us launch the church were former youth kids, who not all of them are with us today, but I'm grateful for them because they helped us start something when it wasn't easy or fun. But they were used to starting things with us. They were used to moving. They were used to starting things from scratch. So to them, I think it was like, no brainer. We're going to do this anyways. Right. But man, that's when it was during COVID is when I felt like Ariel was pushing me to start a church, and I was adamant I would never start a church. Yeah. And until, Johnny, you get a clarion call from the Lord, I know I just preach on calling, but until you hear God's voice, don't start a church until he gives you a burden, not for a city, and until he gives you a burden, and then maybe he'll also give you a location. Come on. But what I learned is it was just a burden. I felt like God was then beginning to also burden me for Seattle. Yeah. But that's kind of just how he works. Dude. Bro, that's how he works.
So let's kind of talk about the transition of you out of youth ministry. You talk about that, Grace. I'm curious from your perspective of like first impressions of me, and also like at what point where you're like, this could be the next guy.
I had told Ariel, okay, this is going to be sound very self-righteous, because at that time it was. Okay. I said the next youth pastor has to outwork me. It has to be better than me, hands down. This isn't a stepping stone. This isn't a just get them here because they're out of Bible college. They need to love the kids better than I love the kids. They need to figure out how to reach the generation better than I could have done it. They need to know the trends. They need to know how to love a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, until that person is here, I don't know if I want to transition, which comes across as like coveting and prideful, but like I cared.
Yeah.
Like I cared for what we had built.
You want to see it fall apart.
I cared for what we had given our heart and our lives to.
Yeah.
You don't want to see it fall apart in the hands of some hotshot fresh out of Bible college who just thinks, I'm the next one. I'm the chosen one. And when we FaceTimed you the first time, the first wheel started turning like, okay, this guy's serious. He didn't talk about himself. He didn't talk about his platform. He didn't talk about building a social media following. He didn't talk about how he wants to speak at youth conferences. He talked about a passion for teenagers. Oh, shoot. Okay. That was the first wheel. Mm-hmm. And then there was a specific day, Johnny, where you and I went and grabbed lunch. You were an intern. And we were dropping a piece of mail off in the mailbox outside the old spaghetti factory in Linwood. Yeah, I don't know why it was the only mailbox. I had to drop off mail for my wife. And I felt like I looked at you and I felt the Lord said, he's the next one. And I said, okay.
Dang.
What does that mean, Lord? And that was the beginning of, I felt the Lord saying, I need you to lay this down. Mm-hmm. And Morgan and I always used to joke, you will have to rip us out of youth ministry.
Yeah.
God just, it just felt like an Enoch moment. Like I just ascended, like I was done.
Dang.
I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Not that I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Not that I hate it.
Right.
Just felt done.
Yeah.
And that's when I looked at you and I said, this guy's next. And talked to Pastor Brandon. I mean, because the reality is this, we had a ton of people ready to go. They were in the pipeline,
right.
But Pastor Brandon and I both agreed, he's a youth pastor at heart as well. And we both agreed that the next person has to be not the best youth pastor. The success of the youth ministry can't be that he or she has 200 kids. Mm-hmm. And suddenly we go, that's the best youth pastor we ever had. No.
Yeah.
The next youth pastor has to figure out how to reach Gen Z in a new way.
Yeah.
I inherited old Gen Z, like Gen Z had just started coming to our youth ministry. Mm-hmm. We've thought, who's going to reach teenagers the best out of all of us? Mm-hmm. And that's when your name came to mind. And then obviously we prayed about you and met with you. And we were like, man, he's the one. This is it.
Dude.
And Pastor Brandon was very excited about you too. Because at that point, he didn't have enough interactions with you. Mm-hmm. But Johnny, all he had was just 2 conversations with you. And he knew.
Dang.
He knew this guy's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. My first impressions for you as a minister, and I think there's nobody I would rather have followed in their steps, because I think you were so intentional with training and raising up. And I don't know if you're even going to remember this, but it was before I'd moved up. I started watching from afar. And I think one instance kind of told me everything that I feel like I needed to know about you. I can trust this guy. I can trust what it was. And it was during the Black Lives Matter, George Floyd incident, everything that had happened. And I don't think I had worked with a bunch of youth ministries from a conference organization in Dallas, seeing somebody pivot, and you brought in, I think it was a police officer or a police chief or something like that. I did. Just to have a conversation.
And a black superintendent.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was like, I think I remember the verbiage you used, like, hey, let's talk about it. Like, you guys have questions, you guys have concerns. And it wasn't, I think some people can get into the wheelhouse of those sort of things for shock value, trendy value, edgy value. But you came out of it of a place of care and empathy and sincerity for those who are confused, those who are angry, those who had like a bunch of questions. And to see how it was all done, I was like, this is so masterful. It's so intentional. Yeah. Like it already opened it. Like, I want to learn as much as I can from this person. And Tony, I really want to give you your flowers of what I've witnessed from you. Not only is that the grit that I talked about, but someone who is willing to be not only an advocate, but to really help push the minds of like, we could have a base assumption of how to react. But I feel like you're always there to offer that the path of empathy. Thank you, man. The path of those who need it. And I think anyone who's met you can say like you have kind of like this. You're like a magnet. Your personality is infectious. You bring joy. You bring life, but also you bring encouragement.
Thank you, man.
And like I think that's the overflow. So like I'm grateful for you as a leader in my life,
Thank you.
and to hold you as like a mentor. So
I just always think there's a third option.
yeah,
There's always a third option. What I was getting concerned, and I think now it's heightened more than ever. At that moment, especially in particular, our youth ministry was split down the middle.
Yeah.
TikTok has finally grown in its influence, and you have a ton of kids who think they're really conservative and a ton of kids who think they're really liberal.
Right.
So suddenly, if a black man dies, I sound like a liberal by saying he died at the knees of a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
And they go, how dare you? Let's go back from a gospel-centered response. What is the Bible? How would the Bible approach this? How would Jesus Christ himself approach this? Because it became a point where there was polarization in the youth ministry.
Yeah.
You see it today in our churches. Things are so polarized now that if you even present a third option, that there has to be something different. There has to be a gospel-centered response to this.
Yeah.
It is like heresy to someone. Because they would say, no, the option is you do this or you do that. And then it's like, man, I feel like that's always kind of been the mark of what I want to become as a leader is I want to be a free thinker.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to be boxed in by Tony's a conservative or I'm a liberal or I'm a this or I'm a that.
Right.
Not because I'm special, not because I'm chosen. I just always think that Jesus was never confined to the ways of man. I don't want to be confined to the thoughts and the patterns of man. I want to have a Romans 12:2 lifestyle where I'm literally just constantly thinking like, God, what do you say about this?
Yeah.
And being transformed.
Yeah. I think it's an excellent segue into really what we're noticing and seeing as the big C church. And really the climate of what ministers are kind of stepping into. I know that for me, what I'm noticing, especially like in teenagers, there was a lot of kind of this, I want to call it like a pendulum swing, where it was attractional for a really long time, like seeker sensitive. And we're seeing a huge swing back to formation of kids
100%.
wanting to be trained and disciplined and know. Some to the full extent. Like I'm hearing from other ministers around the way that like students are like leaving to go to the Catholic Church. John Rush, he's this youth guru pastor guy. I don't know. He offers these insights, but he offered that for every one person or for every one teenager who's joining the Catholic Church, 8 are leaving. Like this crazy statistic. And I think it's them, they're chasing this. I think they're seeing it sides of the spectrum, like cool lights and fog and band. It's so empty. It's no substance.
Why would a teenager want reverence? Why would a teenager want ancient history?
I think they're looking for something of value. I think for a while, youth ministries might have just tried to be look just like the world, but you can't go as far as the world will go, right? It's like when you try to be an imitation, there is always like there's no resistance.
We don't have the budget of Hollywood to keep up with Hollywood. We don't have the budget of a rave to look like a rave.
Right.
And nor do we need to do these things.
Yeah. And I think you can have both.
Yeah.
Like for the person who would speak to like, flashing lights and this kind of music, it really does become preference over anything if it's not like biblically rooted. So like these students are asking these questions, chasing after like, I have hard questions that I need answers to. And is there actually a place to ask these questions, to learn about these things, to learn about these disciplines, where it's being more formal? I don't know. Are you witnessing in that at any experience or extent for adult ministry?
I think adults right now who make up we need to look at who makes up our churches. Mm-hmm. I can only speak to my context. I don't know what's happening in the South, in the Bible Belt, on the East Coast. I can only speak to our region. Right now, we have an extreme influx of Gen Z and like late or Gen Z that were born late 90s.
Sure.
Post-college, in their careers, beginning their marriages, beginning like making money and asking themselves, who am I becoming? What's the purpose of all this?
Yeah.
We also have a lot of millennials with kids. So now we have a lot of millennials. We have less boomers and less Gen Xers. At least in our context, in our region right now. And what I'm noticing, all these groups are vastly different from each other, which I appreciate.
Right.
And then you got Gen Alpha, which I know nothing about, which my kids Gen Alpha, about, bro, I know nothing about Gen Alpha. I know nothing about them.
They're a bunch of weirdos. And
they make noises just like Gen Z. That's the only thing that I know. every group has the same human innate desire for connection.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
Every human wants to feel seen and valued and
Right.
pursued and connected to something. Alpha, Gen Z does not matter. That's what we're seeing right now. Every church in Seattle right now that was planted within the last 2 to 3 years, ours included, this, like we said, things complement each other. We don't have to be idealists.
Right.
Personally, I'm not a fog and lights and all that. I'm not.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
If you use it for the glory of God and you want to use it, great. If it becomes the focal point, you've messed up. But that's, let it be. I don't want to be an idealist. I think with you look at, we talk about Orthodoxy and Catholicism. There's ideals, there's values.
Right.
You don't betray these. And sometimes it can come across as religious. But I also give honor to the Orthodox and the Catholics. They're reverent.
Yeah.
They fear God.
Right.
We treat God with familiarity. Like he's my buddy and, it's all good. I can do whatever I want from him. I could leave him, abandon him for a couple months. I'll come right back.
Right.
So it comes across as legalism, and that with them, I would argue they have reverence. They have fear. Here's what I'm noticing in Seattle, these churches, Johnny. Not one of them focuses on production. And when I mean production, and I hate to use language like this because we're the church.
Right.
The product that people see on a Sunday.
Yeah.
That's not an emphasis. Right. And my buddies who have bigger churches than me that started a little bit before me, you go to their church, man, it's just a band. It's engaging teaching that causes you to question some things, might leave you asking some questions. It's not kitschy one-liners. It's not isms. It's not all the saddleback things we learn about how to get saddleback salmon in the church and how to get them integrated and how to do. There's systems. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. There's processes and all that. But all of these churches are authentic and are focused on connection with people. All of them have huge small group ministries.
Yeah.
Dinner party ministries.
Yeah.
Our small groups in Seattle, at our campus alone, 80% of our church is in small groups.
Wow.
Let that sink in. 80% of our church.
Dang.
We have, sometimes there have been weeks where there's like more people engaged in a small group than there was on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
It just shows you the need of where people are at right now.
Right.
And I'm not arguing that what even Mill Creek does is bad.
Yeah.
We need this for the sake of the kingdom.
Yeah.
They're different expressions trying to reach people, but we can all agree people just want to be connected.
Yeah. And that connectivity brings a sense of accountability. It brings a sense of being known, but it also informs, like, when you're running with people who are kind of in the same pace, same rhythm of discipline and reverence, as you kind of talked about, it kind of elevates everything. I think we're seeing more and more of the death of the consumer, and not that it's a whole pendulum swing past seeker sensitive, but I think what the church is trying to do right now is get it in the middle, where there is a place of reverence. We were just watching this church training as we're talking about like a year of servitude or something like that. And the speaker talked about how Sundays are a crystallization of everything your church is made up of.
Yep.
So those small groups, the systems, the staff, how it feels, what it looks like, where it's at is a crystallization of what you're actually like valuing, where it is. What would you say
so good, man,
for the minister is the balance of like a sense of excellence and like doing ministry?
That's, man. Excellence, I feel like recently has been getting some shade.
Yeah.
Because people say, well, if you want excellence, you want perfection. I would argue that excellence is me stewarding the best I can what God's put in my hands. That's excellent. It's not perfect. It's excellent. And I would say right now, I agree with everything you said. I do think that the church is now starting to lean towards a culture of not just excellence, but really good stewardship of what they have and stewarding our resources well and our people well. I think, Johnny, I'll be honest, man, I don't know if I can answer this question.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I don't think I can. My context is so vastly different. I look at a suburban mega church in Wisconsin. I look at Madu, who just got that 90,000 square foot building.
Come on. Shout out Luke Cinema.
Well, I can't compare to these expressions of the faith.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening. I can't read what's going on there. But I will say for the churches similar to me in dense populations, very urban, us and the East Coast are very similar. Boston, New York, Seattle, LA, San Fran, Portland, very similar.
Yeah.
In every one of those cities, go look at the churches right now that are doing well, not by attendance, but at reaching people, serving the poor, loving the lost, loving the marginalized. What are they all doing really well at?
Yeah.
They're number one, they're very good at evangelism.
Come on.
Very good at sharing the gospel, pushing people to Jesus is the focal point.
Yeah.
The focal point isn't a butt and a seat on a Sunday. The focal point isn't how good the preacher is and if he's selling out conferences and books. I think those days are behind us, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
I think every church figured out how to do a conference.
Yeah.
Every church figured out how to have a worship team. And bro, I'm all for these expressions.
Right.
But you're right. The spiritual consumerism, it has become so, man. At what point does you look at a person who says, I've gone to all the conferences, I've read all the books. They just got to practice it at this point.
Yeah, they just got to
Put it into practice.
You got to actually do something with it.
You got to lead someone to the Lord.
Yeah.
You got to share the gospel.
Right.
You got to lay down your life every
So good.
single day. That's where I feel like these churches are thriving at right now.
Yeah. They're people activated.
People are activated.
Yeah.
We have, I'm unashamed to share. We have gay people at our church. Do I kick them out? Do we just treat them different? Do we force them to conform to? I want them to have an encounter with Holy Spirit. He changes their life forever. Just like I want anyone in our church to have an encounter with the Holy Spirit, not just a gay person, any person who comes to our church.
Yeah.
To have an encounter with the Holy Spirit. I want the rich tech guy who came out here from Texas, who got a job at Amazon, who's making copious amounts of money. I want him to have an encounter with the Holy Spirit.
Right.
And I want the Holy Spirit to do the life work.
Yeah.
I don't want to focus a lot on preaching really cool, eloquent, polished sermons that are just, they make me look pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm on a rant at this point.
No. I get it. I get
Yeah.
it. I love that the focal point is like if people step into the building, we want them to experience Jesus.
100%.
That's the
That
goal.
should be that. Where did we go astray? Bro, where did we? That's the problem with youth ministries too.
Yeah.
When I was a youth pastor, I'm ashamed to admit it. I wanted kids to love me. I wanted to be the youth conference speaker. I wanted to have the biggest youth ministry.
Yeah.
I wanted the approval of everyone around me.
Yeah. I think there's the death to self. You know, like we crucify our flesh. I think Terry Parkman actually just put a post up this morning. Morgan shared it on his story when I was checking about it. But he just talked about like one, church famous isn't actually famous, which I think was like the church world is small. So like if you're known, you're pretty known around. But it's like doesn't really hold any water. And it's not the goal of what we actually want to do, and that you want it to be so well known that you don't actually have roots planted anywhere. I think the accountability that happens with ministers, not even just in youth ministry, is that like, do you smell like the sheep? Are you investing in your people? Are you actually able to draw near enough to like be impactful? Or like, are we just a noisy gong?
Really good. Yeah, our church should smell like cigarettes and beer just a little more.
Cigarettes and beer.
It should, because those are the people who our church should smell a little more like the world, just a little bit. I'm not saying it becomes worldly.
Yeah.
But it needs to be filled with people who are curious about the faith, who are so broken and lost.
Valid. And I even go to the opposite side of that, of like us being able to take the church to the people, of like it's by association that our people feel capable and equipped and trained.
That's the big one. You're right.
Like how do I meet when I'm walking around Seattle on a Friday night, or if I am just having a conversation at my coworker's lunch table? What
is that an emphasis for you with the youth ministry?
I think it's been a natural byproduct. Something we definitely want to get into more intentionally, especially as we're going through a sermon series right now called Back to Form for this month of January, where we go over our core values. And one of the core values of the church is mission. And our tagline that we add for the youth ministry is by any means. And so really highlighting these students, here's what it looks like and here's what it takes. But I've honestly I'm just so proud of our youth. I want to brag on them. And this isn't hyping up even our leaders, because this is really our students who are taking this step. I'm getting texts from teachers from high schools and middle school, of they're overhearing our students because they recognize them because they see them at church, and they're like, hey, so and so is sharing the gospel right now.
Amazing.
So and so is praying for all these people at their lunch table, and it's like, I didn't make them do that. And like, make is such a strong word. Like, I could make anybody do anything, but it's like out of the overflow of who they are experiencing on a Wednesday, Sunday, in their own personal faith. It's been this. People have to know about this. People have to talk about this. Sometimes their theology is a little wonky. Like this last Sunday, we had a student come up to me and he was talking about just some things that he had been sharing at school, and I was like, "Oh, nah."
It's the heart, man.
Yeah, I applaud that. Here's the reality of the situation. You should go back and fix that. He's like,
do you remember the guy who got baptized here about a year ago on a revival worship night? And when they're like, why are you getting baptized? He goes, I just want God to grow my business. And I was like, yeah. And it was after that, I think Pastor Tony goes, I think we need some baptism classes.
That's right. So we're training up. Here's what that means. Sanctified.
That's right. You know where I messed up as a youth pastor, Johnny? And Parker was one of my youth kids, and she's in the room. She can attest to this. I always use this phrase: invite your friends, invite your friends, invite your friends. How much more could have I helped and served the kids by saying, reach your friends, reach your friends, reach your friends. Wow. Reaching your friends is different than inviting. You will want to invite them once you've reached them. Yeah. Once you've shared the gospel in the classroom. So I commend you, bro. The fact that your kids are doing that, we built it all on get them to the building. You just get them in the building, bro, they're good. Right. They're going to be fine. When the reality is, no, we need to teach them how to reach people. Yeah. Because if they don't learn how to do it in their 20s and 30s, or in their adolescence, their 20s, their 30s, their 40s, it's an uphill battle until they feel convicted to do it. It's
been an uphill battle. I feel like it's been an evolution of learning through ministry. I think at first when I would do these invite nights, it was kind of more of that. And it felt like, and the feedback I honestly got is like, it felt like it was like bait and switch. And that's like through what we told, like not even what we told them to say, but like what it looked like.
And you know why? I think at the end of the day, and I'm going to give credit to Brandon and Di. Yeah. When the youth ministry had 10 kids at it, Brandon and Di weren't barking at me, why don't I have more kids at it?
True.
When the youth ministry, I don't even know what the number was, at the height right before COVID, the highest it had ever been. I didn't also see them going like, wow, Tony, this is exactly what we had asked you to do. Yeah. I give them credit. They never put pressure on us, and I believe they do this with you as well. They never put pressure on us to attain a number, which is why we keep telling our kids, invite their friends, because at the end of the day, it's a selfish core. If anything, they were like, teach your kids how to share the gospel, start Bible studies in the schools, do that. Like, they were, Di and Brandon were always, the thing they were on me about was, why aren't you at lunches in school cafeterias? Why are you in the building on Wednesdays? Yeah. You should be in a cafeteria right now meeting with teenagers. Wow. Bro, if I was in the building on a Wednesday during the lunch hour, I got that look. And it wasn't a shame. It was like, go reach them. Yeah. Go help them. Go serve them. Right. Don't wait for them to just come here. Yep. Yeah.
Be available, man. It's key. And so that switch from like a bait and switch kind of mentality, it's like, all right, then we're not going to lie about it. We're not going to like side skirt. Like, let them know this is church. Yep. And sometimes that expression needs to be found in the conversations you're having at your lunch table.
100%.
I think they fell into the trap of like, they're starting to shoot for people who like have no remote interest in spirituality or anything like that. When there's plenty of people in their sphere of circle who are like looking for answers. They're going through something. They're looking for guidance. They're looking for clarity. They're open to something more. And they're just being sensitive, but also being equipped to answer some of those questions. I love that.
I think on a positive note, because I know we have to wrap up soon. Yeah. I think the harvest is ripe right now. The amount of people hungering for the Lord globally. Like, bro, there is something brewing. I'm not trying to sound like that cuckoo charismatic who's like, revival's here.
It's coming, it's coming, it's coming.
No, it's been here.
Yeah.
You look at influential people in society are finding the Lord. Right. There is a desire for spiritual things all across the world, especially in America. Yes, do sometimes people tie in Christianity to patriotism and make it a whole thing, and it's a package like I'm an American, I'm a Christian, whatever. Sure. But there is a hunger for something spiritual, like truly globally and in our country. Yeah. I think this is the time to capitalize. I'm just telling you, ministry's been easier for me.
Right.
It's been easier than it was 10 years ago, 5 years ago. It's been easier now in that I'm not doing the heavy lifting. The Lord is. And it's a shame that I ever tried. People are hungering for God.
Right.
And they're looking all over and they're open to the supernatural more than ever.
Good.
I think they are.
I love that. And I love the charge. And I think it's that not to be the rah kind of person. We're going to go out there. We're going to get them all. But it's this excitement. And I like the mentality shift I'm beginning to sense in people of what could have been maybe a posture like that was somber or defeated, of like the humble, lowly, like, man, we're just trying to make it out here. I'm seeing prayer warriors emerge. I'm seeing champions who are just like, God is alive. God is active in my life. God is moving in my family. And God is going to use me for something. It keeps tying to those themes of like activation and people actually having a hunger to be trained because they see that there's a mission field in front of them. There's something that there's a need for them to step into.
I think everyone listening today should recognize they need to share their testimony. By the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. You need to share your testimony. It's the greatest way to share the gospel.
That's it.
It's the greatest, simplest way, not the greatest, it's the simplest front door to sharing the gospel with someone.
When people can get caught up in the minutia of facts and proof and reality, one thing that can never be stripped away from you is a testimony of how God radically transformed your life.
No one can argue with you that you had depression and suicidal ideation
and God saved your life.
No one can argue that. You can't argue I was depressed. Oh, by the way, I came from a wealthy family and I had all this and I still found myself feeling empty. No one can argue that.
Yeah. And the person who would feel like they need to be silent on it, this is a part of your life. This isn't forcing religion down people's throats. God saved your life. That's a part of this narrative of your journey
100%.
Of who you are as a person. It's key.
100%.
Tony, the last two things I'll ask you.
Ask.
Number one, if you were a volunteer, like we weren't full-time ministers. Where do you think you'd be serving? What do you feel like your serving life would look like? Just like, I think about it sometimes. I'm like, if I had never like stepped into a ministry position, what would I be doing?
It's a really good question.
Yeah.
I think I'd be a youth leader. I think I'd still be a youth leader.
You could be my youth leader.
I would. If I had the bandwidth today to be a youth leader, I would. If I didn't have to lead adults, which adult ministry, by the way, is just youth ministry with more money and more life experience.
Noted.
They're still dating. They're still, going through things.
Yeah.
They just have money and cars now to take them places. But I'd be a youth leader, man. Something about raising the next generation is so profound to me. So powerful to me.
Yeah.
I would be invested in that. I'd be there weekly.
Come on.
And I would probably help out in kids ministry like once a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about you?
I wasn't in ministry and I was just like attending a church and just serving. I mean, youth forever, youth always.
Yeah.
I would like have a small group, have my guys, maybe do young adults. And I would do parking lot once a month. I saw a church call them the asphalt apostles. We need to bring that energy to Venture.
You know what no one talks about the parking team?
Why?
The parking team is the very first impression of a church that someone who had the courage to finally go. It's the first impression of the church. Not the pastor, not the worship, not the coffee.
Yeah.
It's the person helping them figure out where to park.
Dang.
Just think about that for a sec. That's why when I oversaw parking, man, I wanted to make sure we did our very best doing that.
Yeah. That's why you sent me and Greenie out there all the day, every day.
Smiling.
That's it. We got into it.
What's your second question?
No, that was it. Pastor Tony, hey, I appreciate
Love you,
you.
brother,
I appreciate
man. Killing it.
Everything that you do for Seattle and beyond. You guys are growing something big out there. You guys have a youth ministry going on right now. Shout out Hayden and Tyler. We love you guys.
Thanks for helping us start it, man.
Dude,
We're going to winter camp.
Yes, you guys are.
We're going to winter camp.
Winter camp, the end of February 28th to March 1st.
We're sending the kids.
Sign up, send them. Seattle campus is going to be there. So your students should be there. Hey, we love you guys so much. How do you end this thing?
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for listening. And if today's content blessed you, share it. Share it with someone. I hope you do.
And
appreciate you guys.
join the internship as well.
Appreciate you guys.
Blessings.
Go make Jesus famous.
Raiders roll.